Now, for those of you who are interested in self-defense, real practical self-defense, the very first thing that I would recommend to you to get is pepper spray. Now, this is actually kind of a joke. This is bear spray. So in all seriousness, what I'd recommend is something like this. This is pepper spray that's been designed with an attachment system to your keys, so you can put your keys in your pocket and hang the pepper spray on the outside so that you can quickly acquire it. So get some pepper spray and practice the quick release of the pepper spray so that you know that in an extreme situation you will be able to actually acquire it quickly. This has an advantage over a lot of other self-defense weapons in that you aren't as likely to be jailed or sued for using this. If you, for example, carry around a gun and somebody is approaching you aggressively and you panic and you shoot them, you will probably be going away. On the other hand, if somebody's coming at you aggressively and you panic and you spray them with pepper spray, I'm not saying there aren't going to be legal repercussions, but even if there are, you are very likely to get a much more lenient sentence than shooting and killing someone. So pepper spray is, in my opinion, is very ninja. It is the kind of thing that was why ninja were feared as warriors in ancient times. They used blinding powders and smoking devices and pyrotechnics, things like that. And the modern safest evolution of that sort of a tactic is pepper spray. So this is something that I highly recommend that you get and that you carry with you in situations that you don't feel completely safe. Like, for example, I wouldn't necessarily have this hanging out of my pocket when I'm laying on the couch at home, but this is something that I would feel comfortable carrying without making other people uncomfortable, visibly, that's quick to acquire in just about any public situation. So, interested in self-defense, first and foremost, get yourself some pepper spray. Now, the next thing that I would recommend would be a flashlight. And not just any flashlight, but one with a long, hard, solid handle. Police will use this as a weapon against you, and they get away with it every time, as a blinding weapon. They'll sit up here and blind you in your eyes with it, and they approach you in the dark, and when they do that, they can see you clearly and where your hands are, but you can't see where their hands are going. So a flashlight as a blinding weapon can keep your would-be attackers from seeing that you're going for your pepper spray or whatever else you might have, and doubles as a club as well. So a good solid flashlight. Something else that you might especially carry in your car when you're driving at night, have it nearby so that if something happens and you have to go outside your vehicle and check things out, you have this with you. Next, let's talk about blades. Now, blades are not something that I would consider primarily self-defense, although they have self-defense application, of course. These have more applications that I would use in terms of survival, or bushcraft, for example. This is a medium-sized blade. This is something that would be good for batoning wood, and skinning fish, or doing any number of things that have to do with survival, and of course has self-defense application, but is So medium-sized blade, something good to have for that. I would recommend do not get the survival knife version where you have a hollow handle that contains materials. Those kinds of materials you can carry elsewhere. The problem is that if you're batoning wood or doing things like that, they have a tendency to break right about here. So you want to get something that is sturdy. I prefer my blades, my fixed blades anyway, to be what is called full tang, which is where the metal of the blade runs all the way down to the base of the handle. So that is what I would recommend in terms of a medium-sized blade and why I would recommend it. Now, if you are going to carry a blade in an urban setting, what I would recommend is something that's referred to as a folder. And the folder is designed so that it could be opened like that with a flick of the thumb. If you are going to use it for self-defense application, I don't primarily carry a blade for a self-defense application. I primarily carry it for functionality, but if you are going to do it for self-defense application, I would recommend getting the kind that has a spring assist where you can flick it here or there and the spring opens it quickly. Or practice it so that you could open it smoothly, as I did in stressful scenarios. But I recommend getting the kind that has this clip here where it's designed to fit on your waist like this so that only this much of it shows. That way it's not concealed because this much of it is showing. But it's also not something that stresses people out because it's barely noticeable. So they won't be uncomfortable around you carrying a knife. So you would reach in like this, you'd pull it out, and you'd acquire the blade like that. If a cop were to ask you if you were carrying any knives, guns, weapons, that sort of thing, my response to him in terms of this would not be, yes, I'm carrying a knife, yes, I'm carrying a boulder. My response would be, yes, I'm carrying a pocket knife. In a lot of areas, carrying a knife or a fixed blade may be illegal, but carrying a pocket knife is not illegal. And this does fully fit in a pocket, so it is a pocket knife, even though it has this clip designed to where actually at the waistline where you can more quickly acquire it. So that is the kind of thing that I would recommend if you're going to carry a blade for urban survival where it's illegal to carry fixed blades in a sheath. This is another kind of a little pocket knife that I like to carry it. This one isn't so much for self-defense application. I carry it camping. Has a nice fork and spoon. Basically Swiss Army knives. Also multi-tools would be good to carry in terms of survival situations. But I like this sort of a knife for camping, and it has survival applications. And I suppose could be used in terms of self-defense, although it is rather slow acquire. But it may save your life in terms of other kinds of survival applications. And finally, sword. I'm kind of kidding with this one. This particular sword was made so that it has bushcraft applications akin to a machete. So this is full tang. Blade runs all the way down to the base, and it is something that I can baton wood with and use in bushcraft type survival situation scenarios, and of course, it does have self-defense application. Although I don't really see myself using it in that regard. If you're a survivalist, of course, I would recommend getting some sort of a machete that you can trust to really bang around on things without it breaking on you. So that's what this sort of thing is really for. I should also add that in the context of blades, you should also get some form of sharpening equipment, especially if your intention with them is survival. There's a lot of people that are worried about economic collapse or civil war or war with other nations where your region might be occupied. Yeah, wars never happen. In seriousness, they do. And even if you don't think it's going to happen here in the States, this video goes out worldwide. There may come times where you won't be able to go to your local knife shop to have them professionally sharpened. And so get yourself some sort of sharpening equipment so that if you're keeping these in terms of survival application, you will be able to survive with them because you know they won't pull out on you. Next, let's look at handgun. This right here is a 9mm, something that I would carry as a primary sidearm. This right here is a 22 short. 22 short works as a backup or a conceal weapon. Now, if you're going to conceal, in most states of the United States, if you live there, for example, you're going to need a permit to be able to do that. Maybe you're viewing this from countries where you can't even have guns. I don't know. But in the context of the United States, most states require a conceal permit to be able to stash this. Now, the reason that I would conceal is that, in particular, if you're going into situations that's going to make people uncomfortable seeing you wear the gun, and therefore you're going to be too uncomfortable to carry a sidearm, then you're not going to wind up carrying anything at all. So you might want to get something that's small enough to conceal, get a conceal permit, and then you won't feel so uncomfortable about carrying it in public places. And in situations where, like, you're going into a bad part of town, things like that, if you're going to make people uncomfortable, you're going to make them uncomfortable, but don't give up your own survival in situations where you think you need a sidearm. So 9mm has a little more knockdown. Neither one of these will likely penetrate body armor. So some psycho decides to shoot up the movie you're in, you're not going to penetrate his body armor. So practice so you become a good shot, so that if that sort of situation happens, not like anybody's ever come in with body armor and shot up a movie or anything, right? Actually, every once in a while that sort of thing happens. To practice so that you can hit them in vital areas that are not covered by the body armor. Because all that's going to do is, as soon as you start shooting at him, now he notices you and you're going to be his next target. So beware of that. So the next level up, I would say, is get yourself some sidearms, and if you have to, get yourself a conceal permit. Okay, the next thing we'll look at is a 12-gauge pump shotgun. This is something that you would get for close quarters, something that would be good for home defense against, for example, home invasion. So somebody breaks into your house with a handgun, and you have a shotgun, all of a sudden your chances of hitting him without him hitting you go way up. So for home defense, something like a 12-gauge pump shotgun would be recommended. I'm recommending the pump action as opposed to semi-automatic, because the semi-automatic does tend to jam. However, if you don't hit them in the first couple of shots with a shotgun inside your own home, I don't know what you're going to hit with anything. So for home defense, pump shotgun. Alright, the next thing we're going to look at is a 1022. Basically, this is a step up in teaching your children about gun safety. Step up, I mean, because in reality, you want to start them out with a BB gun. Make sure that they aren't doing things like swinging the barrel across in front of people, that they aren't putting their hand over the barrel, or, you know, doing things that wouldn't be safe to do with firearms. You teach them first with something that isn't likely going to kill someone, like a BB gun. This would be a step up for a child. A 1022 is a practice gun, and I say it's a step up for a child because it doesn't have a lot of kick. So they can get used to firing without panicking and doing something, you know, dangerous because of the scary loud noise and the kick. Because again, this is one of the quieter, it bangs, but it's one of the quieter and lower kick firearms. So this would be a step up from a BB gun in teaching your kids about gun safety, make sure that they aren't going to do something that's going to get themselves or somebody else innocent killed. So that's what the 1022 is for. The 1022 is kind of interesting in that it does have the option of getting clips, big banana clips that make it look like an assault rifle, but I think that's actually kind of silly because, again, I don't think of it as a war weapon. I think of this as something that you would teach a child. Now, yeah, it can kill people, but you teach a child with this version before you move them up to assault rifles that you would use in terms of a civil war or an invasion or, you know, wartime scenarios. Okay, the next one I'm going to talk about. This one is the one I am the most interested in, general rifle, a number of applications. SKS Chinese assault rifle. And in this one, the bullets are heavy duty enough to take down big animals. So if it came down to hunting for survival, it would be applied there. If you're worried about civil war in your region or an invasion in your region, again, a lot of Americans think these things can never happen to us, but even if it doesn't, this video goes out to multiple nations, and this can happen to us. This is a good weapon of war as well. So SKS Chinese assault rifle, never had any problems with it. I would say that I'm as happy, if not happier, with this as an assault rifle as with American assault rifles that I've fired. This is an awesome weapon and works just as well, if not better, and you can get it for a lower price. So this is the one that I would highly recommend if you needed a rifle for general purposes. This is the kind of rifle that I think you should get. The banana clips, you can get much larger banana clips that hold more rounds. Has a very sturdy connection, so you can actually duct tape the banana clips, one upside down with respect to the other, for a quick changeover. So it's, like I said, this also has good war application, as well as can be used to save yourself in hunting. Now, I'm a vegetarian. I don't hunt. I think in everyday situations, I have to acknowledge that it is immoral to kill animals and eat meat, but for a number of reasons. But that doesn't mean that it's immoral in extreme situations. If it came down to an elk surviving the winter, me surviving the winter, I'm going to survive the winter. I say elk because there are a lot of elk in the area around here. So SKS Chinese Assault Rifle, I highly recommend this one. The last rifle that we will look at is the Winchester 300 Magnum. This gun is appropriate for a couple of things. For one, for hunting very big animals. Come down to a survival situation where you need to hunt elk or moose, bear, things that are big. The bullets for this are appropriate. That will take down very large animals. It is also good for shooting at very large distances. So wartime application, you want to camp out on some hill, very large distance from a road where the enemy is liable to cross, and the occupying forces come by, you pop off a shot and you leave before they know where it came from. This is very good for sniper wartime application and for hunting very big animals. So that is what I would recommend the Winchester 300 for. Final weapon that we're going to go over is the bow and arrow. Now, yeah, there are other things we could get into, smoking devices, explosives, and all kinds of fun stuff for war application. This is not something that I see as highly likely that you would use in war unless maybe you are needing to hunt and keep things quiet while you do it, or something, for example, in extreme situations, trying to survive, something happens to your firearms. You can always make a bow and arrow, but you need to be able to hit what you're aiming at, so I would recommend practicing some archery so that you can hit a target with the bow and arrow. So I hope this was informative. Have fun and be safe.